At 6:54 p.m. tonight on June 3rd, Archangel Michael expose a hidden threat lurking in your life. At exactly 6:54 p.m. on June 3rd, the veil thinned. Heaven leaned close. Earth stood still. And in that sacred breath between seconds, Archangel Michael descended with divine precision, not as a symbol, not as a myth, but as a witness and a warrior. In that moment, the sword of truth did not just shiver, it struck. A hidden threat was named, a lurking force exposed. And this message, beloved, is your invitation into that revelation. The heavens do not speak without reason, and they do not speak without alignment. What was revealed tonight was not meant for everyone. No, this was not scattered like seed upon every ear. It was reserved. It was coded. It was dispatched only to those whose spirits have been stirred, whose hearts have been aching without understanding, whose lives have been shifting without visible cause. If you felt a sudden chill in your spirit, if you've noticed the silence around you grow heavier in recent days, then stay. Do not turn away. What is being spoken now carries weight in the realm of angels and carries consequence in the world of man. Archangel Michael did not move without order. This wasn't a moment of chance. This was marked on the eternal scroll. A message decoded in divine timing, 6:54 p.m., not 6:53, not 6:55. Divine timing requires divine attention. And if you are hearing this, it means the clock of heaven has aligned with the hour of your unveiling. Here is a mystery unfolding, and you are not just a bystander. You are the reason the sword was drawn. The threat that was hidden from your eyes has already been known to your spirit. You have felt it in the stillness. You have sensed it in the delay. You have even fought it unknowingly in your dreams, in your emotions, in your body. But tonight, it came to light. Not to haunt you, but to release you. And Archangel Michael, heaven's defender, has chosen this hour to declare it. This is not a message to casually scroll past. This is not a whisper to tuck away for later. Heaven only speaks when earth is still, and you, child of light, have been stilled for a reason. Your distractions have been disrupted. Your patterns have been paused. Your spirit is being quieted because something sacred must be said. There is an unseen war taking place just beyond the reach of your senses. And yet, in mercy, the heavens have broken protocol to bring it into view. The threat that moves in silence, the voice that slithers in half-truths, the presence that drains without touch, it has now been marked. It has now been seen. And you are no longer unaware. If your spirit just leapt, if your heart is racing for no logical reason, it is because your soul already knows what your mind is only now receiving. This message carries your confirmation. This moment carries your instruction. What was once hidden is now being unsealed, and the one who exposes it is the chief angel of war, the defender of the righteous, the prince of heavenly armies, Archangel Michael himself. So pause, breathe, listen, and prepare. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. Archangel Michael is speaking now. Yes, now. Not a second before. Not a second after. For this moment is sealed in divine timing. It has been written on the scrolls of heaven, set before the foundations of the earth, and ignited in the spirit realm to reach you exactly as you are, where you are, right now. Heaven does not stutter. The throne does not tremble. The messages of the Almighty do not arrive late. So hear this: the hour of exposure has come. And I, Michael, the Archangel of War, the captain of heaven's hosts, the sword of the Lord, am sent not to soothe, but to strike, to cut through confusion, to sever the cords of spiritual sabotage, to break the chain of delay. This moment is not random. This warning is not soft. You are being summoned, not just spoken to. Because the enemy did not fear your presence, he feared your awakening. And now, heaven speaks because your soul is finally still enough to receive what has been blocked, hidden, delayed, and warred against for months, even years. You felt it, didn't you? You've been walking through fog, praying through silence, dancing in circles while the ground beneath you shifted with no warning. You thought it was confusion. You thought it was exhaustion. You thought it was just a season. But it wasn't. What you've been feeling was the nearness of danger veiled in the mundane, a threat wrapped in the skin of normalcy, a shadow that called itself coincidence. And tonight, at 6:54 p.m. on June 3rd, the veil was torn. What had been monitoring you, unseen, is no longer permitted to hide. So I speak now, not to the casual, not to the carnal, not to the curious. I speak to the awakened. I speak to the ones who know that a war has been raging behind every quiet rejection, behind every relational collapse, behind every mental attack and every lost opportunity. I speak to the ones whose spirits stirred without reason, whose hearts have ached in silence, whose tears have fallen in the night with no understanding. This message is for the spiritually sensitive, the ones marked by oil, the ones chosen in blood, the ones who have not fit, not settled, not bowed, even when the pressure mounted. Yes, you. The ones who cried and kept moving. The ones who lost and still worshipped. The ones who felt empty and still obeyed. To you, the heavens are now revealing. The threat that stalked you has been seen. I entered the realm with sword drawn. Not a whisper. Not a warning. A strike. A split. A declaration in the dark. Enough. For too long, the enemy has operated in half-light, confusing your discernment, making you doubt what your spirit already knew. He made you question your instincts. He made you silence your knowing. He made you delay your moves. But tonight, the order was given. Heaven declared a breach. And I came, not as a comforter, but as a commander. The war that surrounded you is not new. But tonight it changed. Because tonight it was named. And what is named can no longer operate in darkness. But be warned, exposure is not always gentle. Revelation does not always feel like rescue. When I draw my sword, it is not to entertain. It is to divide. It is to uncover. It is to make war against what made war against you. Some things will fall off. Some people will fall away. And though your heart may feel confusion, your spirit will feel peace, because this is divine warfare, not personal drama. You are not being punished. You are being preserved. You are not being targeted in weakness. You are being marked in strength. You are not forgotten. You are chosen, and chosen ones are always revealed when war is declared. So rise in your spirit. Steady your mind. Open your ears. The threat is no longer in hiding, and neither can you be. I speak now so that you can no longer pretend you didn't hear. You've asked for clarity, this is it. You've asked for confirmation, this is it. You've asked for breakthrough. This is the beginning. But breakthrough comes with confrontation, and confrontation comes with truth. And truth has now arrived. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel for exclusive prophetic content, weekly guidance, and divine insight to strengthen your journey. Type I am chosen in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 666 is now surrounding you. You were watched, not warned. Yes, while you prayed, someone studied. While you trusted, someone took notes. While you were vulnerable, someone marked your patterns. And while you sought peace, something or someone took notice. The threat didn't announce itself. It observed you silently. It learned your rhythm. It adapted to your kindness. And when it moved in shadows. And now, it's time you asked yourself, why do you feel so drained lately? Why do you feel like every step forward has invisible resistance? Why do you feel watched, yet alone? Why do you wake up more tired than when you fell asleep? Why do you feel surrounded by people, yet so deeply isolated in spirit? This is not coincidence. This is not burnout. This is not just anxiety. Something has been draining your light, without permission, without mercy, without rest. And it did not come as a storm. It came as silence. It came as a pattern. It came through people who changed overnight. Conversations that felt off. Eyes that didn't match the smiles. You sensed it, but you couldn't explain it. You felt it, but you ignored it. You saw the patterns, but doubted your own discernment. You weren't being paranoid. You were being alerted. You weren't overreacting. You were being targeted. The atmosphere around you has been under surveillance. Not by cameras, by spirits. Not by systems, by whispers. The enemy does not fear your comfort. He fears your clarity. And you, child of light, have been moving too close to something sacred. Too near to the door he wanted you to miss. Too aligned with the moment he hoped you would sleep through. They know you're close to something big. Oh yes, they know. The spirits assigned to your delay know. The people who once loved your potential but now envy your progress. They know. Even your doubts know. The warfare in your mind has increased because something in you has begun to rise. You have not been going crazy. You've been crossing over. That's why the distractions multiplied. That's why your peace became fragile. That's why your sleep turned into wrestling matches. Because something has been sent to interrupt your acceleration. You must understand, you are standing at the edge of something the enemy hoped you'd never reach. And now that you're close, he's not sending storms, he's sending whispers. Subtle confusion, disguised betrayal, timely silence, sudden rejection, all carefully planted to drain your confidence and stop your momentum. Because when heaven sends acceleration, hell releases a drucken. But the most dangerous attack isn't the one that wounds your body, it's the one that manipulates your mind. The one that makes you second-guess what God already confirmed. The one that makes you question your discernment. The one that makes you trust the wrong voice and dismiss your own. And you felt it, haven't you? The strange shift in energy. The growing discomfort around certain people. The dissonance in one's comfortable spaces. The way your spirit starts reacting to places you once tolerated. Why? Because what once felt normal is no longer safe. Because what once was convenient has now become contaminated. Because what once was background noise is now spiritual surveillance. You don't even have the words for it, do you? But you felt it. Your appetite shifted. Your emotions became unpredictable. You've grown sensitive to sounds, overwhelmed in conversations, exhausted after being around certain people. That's not random. That's warfare disguised as routine. So I ask you now, what do they really want from you? Do you want access without honor? Proximity without loyalty? They want to study your strength while pretending to applaud it. They want to mirror your light, then mock your weakness. But heaven has now declared access denied. The hidden threat that lingered in the shadows, the one that couldn't be named, only felt, is being exposed. It is not your job to figure out who. It is your job to recognize what's draining you, what's delaying you, what's diminishing you. When your peace feels under attack, it's not always because of what's outside, but who's been allowed too close. So be alert. Be vigilant. Do not dismiss what your spirit discerns just because your emotions want to hold on. The strange vibes, the whispers, the friction, these are signs, warnings, markers. Heaven is giving you signals before the strike. This is not a test of intellect. This is a test of sensitivity. If you've been feeling off, but couldn't explain why, this is why. Heaven is revealing it now so that you are not caught unaware later. You are being preserved. If this message resonates with your spirit, consider sowing into this revelation by giving a super thanks. Your gift of $20 supports more prophetic messages like this one. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And if you're being fed by these divine insights, subscribe to the channel now for weekly prophetic words and real-time spiritual strategy. Type "I receive" in the comments if this stirred your spirit. Blessing code 1441 is covering your atmosphere now. Lovely hidden stays hidden. And what was once crouched behind charm, silence, or familiarity has now been exposed under the penetrating gaze of heaven. This moment, this divine unveiling, is not a punishment. It is a promotion disguised as disruption. The conflict surrounding you isn't random. It is spiritual proof that you are being elevated. And elevation doesn't come with applause, it comes with agitation. It comes with confusion. It comes with the stretching of your soul and the pressure of your destiny pressing against the shell of your old self. Yes, child of fire, you are being reborn through the storm. Heaven wants you to know you're targeted because you're marked. You're not being attacked because you're weak. You're being pressed because you're potent. You carry something heaven ordained and hell regrets. You are wrapped in a calling that cannot be copied. You are marked by an oil that cannot be replicated. You are chosen in a generation that's settled for compromise. And when you are chosen, you become visible in realms that most people will never comprehend. That's why the betrayal felt so personal. That's why the slander cut so deep. That's why the warfare didn't come from strangers, but from familiar voices, from people close enough to hurt you. That's why the pressure increased the moment you committed to grow. That's why you felt alone even in a crowd. You were not cursed. You were called. And with calling comes confrontation. Not because you did something wrong, but because you finally did something right. Understand this divine law. Chaos always increases before promotion. That's why things started falling apart when you finally started to obey. That's why relationships grew cold the moment you committed to your purpose. That's why what once worked began to fall apart, because heaven was trying to shake you loose from what no longer fits your future. It's a spiritual rule, a sacred rhythm. Just as a tree must be pruned before it multiplies, so must your life be trimmed before it produces its next harvest. The conflict didn't come to kill you. It came to clear the room. It came to purify your circle. It came to show you who's truly for you, and who only followed the version of you that served their comfort. But listen closely now. This is not a call to panic. This is not the time to retaliate or react. This is the time to surrender. Yes, surrender. Not to the enemy, but to the process. Surrender to the divine orchestration of heaven. Surrender to the exposing light of truth. Surrender to the wisdom that sometimes silences strategy. Obedience is your protection. Alignment is your authority. Do not let your emotions outrun your assignment. What's happening in your life right now is not a loss. It is a realignment. Heaven is organizing the battlefield. The Spirit of God is arranging your steps. The angelic hosts are standing watch over your transition. But you must not panic. Panic is the tool of the enemy. It clouds your judgment. Your vision. It convinces you to settle in places God is calling you to leave. Let peace become your protest. Let stillness be your response. Let clarity become your counterattack. There are things shifting now in the unseen. Things you prayed for are already moving. But remember, before the breakthrough comes the exposure. And before the reward comes the revealing. You asked to be elevated, but did you know elevation requires eviction? Some people, some patterns, some parts of you cannot go with you where God is taking you. They must be severed, not because you're bitter, but because you're becoming. And becoming always requires separation. This is why your discernment has been sharpened. This is why your appetite has changed. This is why what once entertained you now irritates you. You are being transformed, and transformation brings tension. But Archangel Michael hath been released to make war on your behalf. This is not your battle to fight alone. Heaven has sent reinforcements. The war that began in whispers will end in victory. If you stay obedient, stay silent when told, and stay surrendered even when it's painful. You're not under attack. You're under activation. Let them walk away. Let it fall apart. Let what was hidden come into the light. Heaven is not surprised. And now, neither are you. Type I am called in the comments if this speaks to your soul. Blessing code 1717 is resting on your life. The confrontation begins within 72 hours. This is not a metaphor. This is not poetic language. This is a divine timestamp sealed into the spirit realm. And if you are hearing this message, you are already on the clock. The shift is no longer coming. It has begun. The movement in the invisible is nearing the visible. The tension you feel, that spiritual pressure pushing through the membrane of time. Something hidden is about to step into view, and the next 3 days will reveal whether you are positioned for battle or distracted by noise. You were never meant to stay unaware. The same Archangel Michael who drew his sword at 6:54 p.m. on June 3rd now sounds the trumpet in your soul. The countdown to divine confrontation has begun. And I declare to you now, you will feel it before you see it. You'll sense the shift in people's tone. You'll detect the staleness in one's familiar spaces. The smiles may remain, but their spirit will betray them. The silence may grow louder. The distance may increase. The enemy rarely announces his attack with shouting. He slips in through sighs, avoidance, and unspoken resentments. Listen to the friction. Observe the atmosphere. Pay attention to your inner alarm. You are not paranoid. You are being prepared. Because in the next 72 hours, something will rise that tries to challenge your clarity, test your peace, or delay your obedience. It may come through conversation. It may come through a subtle sabotage. It may come through a re-emerging distraction that you thought you had already buried. But make no mistake, it's not random. It's not coincidental. It's strategic. The enemy knows this is your threshold moment. This is the hour right before expansion, the most vulnerable place in your process. It's where most people faint. It's where most retreat. It's where many delay their destiny by making an emotional decision in a spiritual moment. But not you. At this time. The Lord is not exposing this threat for your entertainment. He is exposing it for your endurance. He is allowing you to sense the pressure, to discern the duplicity, and to feel the urgency. Not to panic, but to prepare. You see, heaven does not always reveal the full picture. Divine wisdom only shows you what you are mature enough to handle. That's why certain details have been hidden. That's why some names haven't been revealed. That's why some doors didn't open when you knocked. Because heaven hides what you're not ready to face, not to punish you, but to protect you. And now, Archangel Michael has been released to give you this warning: stand still and stay aware. The threat you feel may wear a familiar face. Attention may come from someone who once encouraged you. The resistance may rise in a place you once called safe. But the exposure must happen. Why? Because God will not allow the next level of your purpose to be polluted by people and patterns that carry hidden malice. This is not about vengeance, it's about vision. You must see clearly in the next season. You must walk without the weight of second-guessing your discernment. You must rise with holy confidence. And that can only happen when everything that has worked against you in secret is brought into the light. But hear this warning with soberness. The attack will be subtle. It may come through passivity. It may come through someone pretending not to care, when really, they've been watching, studying, reacting. It may come through guilt, through manipulation, through a false apology meant to reel you back into a cycle you already outgrew. Do not be deceived. Not every reconciliation is divine. Not every opportunity is God-sent. Not every open door leads to destiny. Some doors are traps. Some smiles are masks. Some second chances are old assignments disguised in new language. This is your moment to ask heaven for sharp discernment. You don't need the full picture. You need full obedience. Heaven is saying, you don't need to fight this. Just recognize it. Just withdraw. Just observe. And I, says the Lord, will make the next move. The confrontation will not begin with fists. It will begin with a choice to walk away, to hold your time. You trust the silence. That's where your victory will emerge. For heaven has already gone before you, and the sword has already been drawn. You are not alone in this. You are backed by angels, surrounded by fire, covered by the word. Type "I will obey" in the comments if you're ready to move with heaven. Blessing code 2222 is surrounding you with divine strategy. Withdraw. Listen. Heaven is speaking. Yes. This is your call to retreat, not in weakness but in spiritual intelligence. This is not abandonment. This is alignment. This is not escape. This is elevation. The most powerful moves of God are often born in silence, not in spectacle. What's being formed inside of you right now needs space. What's being exposed around you right now needs separation. The threat was revealed so you would reposition, not retaliate. Do not engage with what heaven has already defeated. The war is not yours to win by words. The victory comes through stillness. This is the realm of divine strategy, not emotional reaction. The enemy wants you loud. He wants you visible. He wants you talking, posting, proving, defending. Because he knows that noise disturbs divine instruction. But silence is your shield now. Yes, silence. Because when God is about to move, he first makes the room still. He strips away the distractions. He draws his chosen ones into caves, into closets, into consecration, not to punish them, but to preserve them, not to shame them, but to sharpen them. He calls them out of the crowd so he can whisper secrets that only the still can hear. You've been asking for answers. You've been begging for clarity. But heaven does not shout over chaos. Heaven waits. Heaven watches. Heaven speaks when earth is finally quiet enough to hear. So I speak now as Michael, the archangel of fire and authority. Draw back. Do not chase. Do not explain. Do not apologize for growing. Your silence is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is a wall. It is a weapon. When you are silent, you give heaven room to act. You give angels space to move. You give the Spirit room to shift atmospheres that words could never fix. The urge to speak is a temptation, but wisdom knows when to stay hidden. I speak now to the weary in spirit. Be still. Be still and know that God is defending you in spaces you don't even see. Be still and trust that what left you was removed for your protection. Be still and understand that heaven is guarding what your heart can't yet comprehend. You are not being punished. You are being protected from premature exposure. So what should you do in this sacred pause? Withdraw into prayer. Begin speaking to heaven again, not as a beggar, but as an heir. Not as a victim, but as a vessel. Say less to people and say more to God. Let your spirit speak in silence. Let your tears be intercession. Let your journal become your altar. Withdraw into observation. Watch the shifts. Observe the changes. Take note of who becomes quiet now that your light has grown. Pay attention to who no longer celebrates your strength. Heaven is showing you more by revealing less. Discernment is heightened in stillness. Withdraw into obedience. When the Lord says pause, He's not delaying you. He's preparing you. Your steps are ordered. Every day in this silence is a step forward in the Spirit. Do not mistake quietness for stagnation. Do not equate stillness with failure. Heaven does more in silence than earth ever could with sound. And speak these affirmations aloud, every day, without fail. I am hidden in divine light. I am unseen by my enemies and seen by my God. I do not chase. I attract what heaven has aligned. I am invisible to every attack and visible to every angel. I am surrounded, shielded, and secured by the Most High. Let these words frame your reality. Let them surround your mind. Let them anchor your heart. Because what is about to happen next will require the strength you build in this silence. Heaven is fortifying you in the shadows so that when the next door opens, you won't question who you are. You'll walk in with authority. This is not hiding. This is being hidden. And there is a difference. To hide is to run in fear. But to be hidden is to be positioned by God. To hide is to avoid. But to be hidden is to be protected. You are not lost. You are not off track. You are in the center of a divine strategy. A divine shield. A divine pause. So heed this word. Speak less, listen more. Don't respond to everything. Don't correct every false story. Don't chase old cycles that heaven already closed. The ones who need to know the truth will feel it in your fruit. You are in a divine chamber now. Guard your peace. Guard your energy. Guard your vision. You will emerge from this silence not broken, but built. Not diminished, but dangerous. Type I am hidden in light in the comments if you accept this instruction. Blessing code 1234 is now sheltering you under divine cover. You are no longer small. Let that echo through the walls of your soul until it tears down every false identity that pain ever built. You are no longer fragile. You are no longer forgettable. You are no longer overlooked, ignored, or underestimated. The fire did not come to destroy you. The fire came to reveal you. What they thought would take you out only stripped away what never belonged to you in the first place. Heaven sent this message through Archangel Michael, not merely to expose the threat, but to awaken the warrior within you. Not to stir fear, but to ignite fire. Not to make you question your worth, but to awaken you to the full magnitude of your authority. Because the truth is, child of the Most High, you have survived things that were meant to bury you, and yet you did not break. You did not fold. You did not run. You stood in the storm when others left. You kept your faith when others mocked it. You pressed through the silence when heaven seemed quiet. And though your heart was breaking, your spirit held the line. That's why you're still here. That's why the enemy is nervous. That's why the darkness trembles when your name is whispered in the spirit realm. You were never weak. You were just becoming. And now, heaven has authorized this moment for you to know. The version of you that once begged, cried, and questioned is being replaced. The fear is falling off. The shame is being broken. The false identity is being cast down. Because the fire refined you, not destroyed you. You were purified in isolation. You were strengthened in silence. You were sharpened in warfare. And now, you are dangerous to every plan the enemy had for your future. They underestimated you because they judged your battle, not your breakthrough. They saw your silence and thought it was surrender. They saw your patience and mistook it for passivity. They saw your humility and assumed you were harmless. But Archangel Michael has come with a declaration. You are not harmless. You are holy. And holiness has power. The version of you rising now carries iron in their bones and fire in their spirit. The former Virian cried over closed doors. This version commands open gates. The old Brian chased validation. This version walks in anointing. The old Virian doubted their worth. This Virian knows their name is written in heaven. You are not soft. You are sharp. You have become a sword, not just a servant. You have become a winged one, not a wounded one. You have become a flame, not a flicker. And now, the world must adjust to the weight of who you've become. You don't chink anymore. You don't ask permission anymore. You don't tone down your calling to make others comfortable. You are not arrogant, you are aware. You are not overreacting, you are overdue. You are not too much, you are perfectly measured for this next assignment. And let it be known, heaven trusts you. That's why you were tested. That's why the fire didn't kill you. Because there is an authority in you that is necessary for this generation. There is a word in your mouth, a mantle on your shoulders, and a movement in your bones. And no devil, no delay, and no demon in disguise can remove what God has installed. So stand up straight. Fix your crown. Open your mouth. You were chosen for this exact hour. The shift toward empowerment has begun, not because you feel strong, but because heaven has already declared it. I am armored in light in the comments if you're ready to walk in this strength. Lesson code 7777 is forging your identity in divine iron. Heaven expose the threat to unlock you. Let the truth settle deep within you. Let it break the lie that this was an accident. Let it dismantle the illusion that you are just a survivor of warfare. No, you are a strategic awakening sent into this timeline by divine appointment. The attack was never about your failure. It was about your future. The shaking was not designed to break you. It was sent to break open what had been locked inside of you for too long. You've been walking with a calling you didn't fully see. You've been living under potential you hadn't fully activated. You've been surrounded by people who couldn't see what heaven put in you, because they were never meant to carry the revelation, only the pressure to push you toward it. And so, the confrontation came. Not to shame you, but to shake you. Not to confuse you, but to cleanse you. Because heaven knew, if the pressure didn't rise, you wouldn't press in. If the attacks didn't increase, you wouldn't ask for more. If the chaos didn't erupt, you would have stayed silent in a life that heaven outgrew. So the threat had to rise to provoke the awakening. You've been asking why the warfare intensified, why the betrayal cut so deep, why the strange energy surrounded you, why certain people turned cold with no warning. The answer: because your next level wasn't coming to you. You were being thrust into it. Child of destiny, hear this. Your name echoed in angelic chambers. Heaven called your name out in rooms you've never entered. Divine assignments were activated because you were chosen. When you cried, the angels recorded. When you warred in silence, heaven witnessed it. And when you stayed faithful through the chaos, the heavens thundered with agreement. It's time. Yes, it's time. Time for the threat to be named. Time for the scales to fall from your eyes. Time for you to stop second-guessing your discernment and stand in your full spiritual identity. The reason things had to be exposed was not just to protect you, it was to position you. Heaven needed you fully awake, fully aligned, fully activated. You couldn't walk into destiny half blind. You couldn't carry the mantle while still negotiating your worth. You couldn't speak with fire while still entertaining counterfeits. So heaven exposed the threat to free the voice inside of you. The leader, the prophet, the breaker, the builder. It had to happen this way, not because you were cursed, but because you are called. They didn't believe in you because they weren't supposed to. You were never meant to be celebrated by the crowd. You were carved for consecration. And now, the prophetic light of heaven is resting on your shoulders. No more hiding. No more thinking. No more minimizing your fire to make others comfortable. You were remembered when others forgot. You were favored when others fled. You were fortified while others faded. Heaven wrote your name in fire. Your process was long because your purpose is massive. The enemy didn't fight you this hard over nothing. He fought you because he saw what you hadn't even recognized in yourself. But now you know. Now you see. Now you feel the divine pulse inside of you. The urgency, the weight, the revelation, the clarity. And now the heavens whisper, it is time. If this word pierced your soul and unlocked something within, consider supporting this ministry with a super thanks. Even a $5 offering helps us continue bringing prophetic fire and clarity to those who need it. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And beloved, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you never miss a moment like this. Weekly revelations, prophetic instruction, and spiritual empowerment await. Type I am awakened in the comments if this revelation reached your spirit. Blessing code 4411 has now sealed your name in heaven's record of the chosen. What you declare now, heaven honors. Let this truth break the final chain of hesitation in you. Let it pierce through every fear, every false narrative, every disqualifying thought you've ever carried. You are standing at a spiritual doorway, and the keys are in your mouth. You are not waiting on God to move, heaven is waiting on your yes. Yes, you. The one who doubted. the one who barely survived, the one who almost let go. This word is not for someone else, it's for you. You've been silent long enough. You've let others define you for too long. And now, the throne of heaven turns its ear to your voice. Speak. Declare. Announce your destiny. For the battle you just came through was never about destruction. It was about activation. That's why the pressure came when it did. That's why the opposition rose when it did. Because heaven was drawing out the warrior in you. Your voice is your weapon. Your decree is your deliverance. The moment you speak with conviction, the angels receive assignment. You are not just a survivor. You are a speaker of destiny. Your words must shift now from pain to power, from hoping to declaring, from wondering to commanding. It is written, you shall decree a thing, and it shall be established for you. Job 22:28. So what are you saying? What are you declaring? What have you been whispering in fear that heaven is waiting to echo with thunder? Heaven only moves when you say yes. That's the rhythm of divine authority. It begins with surrender, but it's sustained by agreement. You cannot walk in a destiny you refuse to claim. You cannot inherit a future you're afraid to name. So rise now, child of fire, and speak into the realm what has been revealed in your spirit. Say, I command alignment in my soul, body, and mind. I call forth divine connections that honor the oil I carry. I claim boldness, discernment, clarity, and dominion. I will no longer bow to the old version of me. My voice unlocks heaven. My yes unleashes angels. You waited long enough. You wondered long enough. You survived long enough. This is your moment to command the shift. Write the vision. Speak the vision. Live the vision. The enemy wants you passive, but the Spirit of God is calling you to prophesy your path. Command restoration. Command movement. Command closure. Command joy. Command boldness. Command exposure for anything still hiding near your circle. Because this is not the hour to sit in silence hoping things change. This is the hour to step forward and call them into order. Destiny doesn't respond to silence. It responds to authority. And you've been given divine authority. Heaven has signed your name in fire, and now the earth must align. But it cannot align with confusion. It aligns with clarity. So make this spiritual dare. Don't just survive. Command the shift. Don't wait for permission. Don't ask for approval. Don't shrink to fit an atmosphere heaven called you to transform. The time for quiet submission has ended. The time for bold prophetic command has begun. Type I activate my destiny in the comments if your voice is ready to shake the realm. Blessing code 1010 is unlocking new gates of authority. Heaven is trading sorrow for strength. Yes, even now, while you read this, a transaction is happening in the spirit. Not visible to your eyes, not audible to your ears, but real, more real than anything in this realm. The grief you carried is being lifted. The delays you endured, they are being reversed. The tears you sowed in silence, they are rising as a holy fragrance before the throne. And in return, strength is being given. A new garment is being placed on your shoulders, not of heaviness but of praise, not of weariness but of power. You've cried long enough. You've asked long enough. You've wandered long enough. And now, the Spirit of God is moving in complete silence, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is. Scrolls are opening. Names are being spoken. Your name, your assignment, your season. The angelic realm is not guessing your purpose. It is executing it. Assignments have been reactivated because you survived the delay. Armies have been mobilized because you remained obedient. You didn't fold in the fire, so now the fire becomes your fuel. The world may not see it, but the spirit realm is roaring. You passed the test. You walked through the shadow and did not give up. And because of that, heaven has initiated a divine exchange. Lust for power, delay for clarity, silence for scrolls. You may have felt unseen, but there was not a second you were ignored. You may have thought your voice was small, but the angels knew your frequency. You may have questioned your timing, but your yes was written in eternity. And now there's a divine hush, because when the spirit realm moves, it does so without warning, widely, strategically, like a king reordering his palace at midnight. Heaven is rebuilding your life without making noise. Even your enemies won't know what happened until it's already done. The opportunities will appear suddenly. The connections will confirm what God already told you in secret. The restoration will arrive and feel like a dream, but it will be your reality. And yet you'll remember this moment. This silence. This strange, holy hush. The silent exchange, when God said, "You gave me your pain, now here is your power. You gave me your heartbreak, now here is your harvest. You gave me your silence, now here is your song." Do not underestimate the power of this silence. What is being done now will shape the rest of your walk, but you must carry it in reverence. Do not speak too soon. Do not post prematurely. What is forming in you is still sacred. Let the blessing build in secret until heaven reveals it by fire, because your soul already said yes even before your lips did. Before you ever spoke it aloud, your spirit agreed. Before you wrote it in your journal, your destiny said yes in the courts of heaven. That's why the warfare came. That's why the enemy fought so violently. He knew something had been set in motion before you even had language for it. But it's too late now. It's sealed. Nothing is lost. Everything is being reclaimed. Every prayer you thought was ignored, it's been archived and answered. Every act of faith you made in fear has been recorded and rewarded. Every seed you sowed in tears, it's being watered by angels. So rest now, not in apathy but in assurance. Rest knowing you're walking in a realm that others can't explain, but heaven can't deny. Type "I receive the exchange" in the comments if you feel this holy hush. Blessing code 1551 is rewriting your season in the scrolls of heaven. Judgment hath been rendered. The throne has spoken. The scales have tilted, and the gavel of heaven has struck with finality. What was once allowed to move against you in shadows is now being arrested in the spirit realm. Every tongue that rose against you in silence is now silenced by divine decree. Every hidden hand that operated in secret had been seen by the judge whose eyes burn with holy fire. Those who plotted now feel the reversal. Do not be deceived by their smiles. Do not be fooled by their denial. Just because justice begins invisibly doesn't mean it's inactive. God does not always vindicate you with public applause. Sometimes He restores you in quiet power, while those who cursed you watch from behind closed doors, unable to enter the next chapter of your elevation. For it is written, "Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. I will repay." Romans 12:19. The Lord does not forget, and the Lord does not delay. He waits. He watches. He allows time for repentance. But when the clock strikes in the Spirit, as it did at 6:54 p.m. on June 3rd, the order is given. The angel of war is released. And now, heaven's reversal has been set in motion. Heaven's scales never lie. They do not tilt in favor of manipulation. They do not bow to the cries of the guilty. The scales are pure, accurate, and sealed in righteousness. And right now, they are in your favor. You are being restored. What was broken is now rebuilding you. The heartbreak became the holy hammer that reshaped your character. The betrayal became the blueprint for boundaries. The rejection became the rocket fuel for your redirection. Nothing was wasted. Every tear became evidence in the courtroom of heaven. Every silent cry was submitted as testimony. And now, judgment is falling. Not to harm, but to align. Those who mocked you will see you rise. Those who discredited you will hear your name in places their voice cannot reach. Those who distorted your image will watch heaven magnify your calling. But hear me clearly. This is not your moment for revenge. This is your moment for rest. Because justice is not a feeling, it is a spirit. And that spirit has now been released on your behalf. You will see the reversal in subtle shifts, in unexpected opportunities, in divine delays that push you out of harm's path, in sudden disconnections that feel painful but are purposed. Every twist is calculated. Every pause is prophetic. Every exit is engineered by the righteous hand of God. You don't need to argue. You don't need to prove. You don't need to vindicate yourself. Heaven already did. What comes next will not make sense to those who plotted. They will wonder how you made it. They will question how you got the blessing. They will try to trace your footsteps and find only favor. Because your justice wasn't rooted in revenge, it was rooted in obedience. And obedience is the currency that unlocks divine reversal. The very thing the enemy hoped would define you, the loss, the silence, the pain, will now be used by God to launch you. Your past will not be a prison. It will be your platform. Your struggle will not be your shame. It will be your story. And the very voices that whispered against you will have no power over what God is now speaking through you. If this word resonates with your spirit, help us continue sharing this message by giving a super thanks. Even $10 can make a lasting difference. Also, if you'd like to support what we do, you can make a difference by donating through the support here link in the description of this video. Every contribution helps us keep creating and sharing more with you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more divine revelations, spiritual guidance, and prophetic updates tailored for your journey. Type "Justice has found me" in the comments if you claim this reversal. Blessing code 8888 is now releasing divine compensation into your life. A night's threat was your awakening. Let that settle into the very core of your spirit. What tried to stop you has now become your signal to rise. The exposure, the whispers, the strange delays, they weren't proof that God was far. They were proof that heaven was near. That heaven had stepped into your timeline. That heaven had whispered your name into the ears of angels. And at exactly 6:54 p.m. on June 3rd, heaven decided, no more silence, no more delay, no more deception. Archangel Michael was dispatched not just to defend, but to reveal. The revelation wasn't about your enemy. It was about your assignment. The real threat wasn't the betrayal. It was your blindness. And now that you see, nothing can stop what's coming next. You are no longer hidden from yourself. You are no longer afraid of your own light. You are no longer minimizing your own fire to fit into spaces too small for your mantle. You are covered. You are lifted. You are led. Heaven goes before you. Favor walks beside you. Fire covers behind you. The journey ahead will not be without trials, but it will be without confusion. Because now you know, you are chosen. You are sealed in heaven's scroll. You are written in divine strategy. You are marked by the flame of endurance, and the sword of truth has cleared your path. Do not return to what was exposed. Do not reach back to what heaven removed. Do not question what your spirit already confirmed. Your assignment now is to move forward with holy boldness, to step into rooms without shrinking, to speak your truth without trembling, to embrace the mantle that was always yours, but now fully revealed. You are sealed. You are seen. You are sent. Now rise. Rise from the ashes of old identity. Rise from the weight of unspoken pain. Rise from the cycle that kept you small. Rise and walk in divine confidence, because the God who called you has now confirmed you. The angels who observe you have now guarded you, and the Spirit who refined you is now pushing you forward with unstoppable power. This was never just a battle. This was a birthing. This was never just a threat. This was an invitation to walk in power, to speak with fire, to lead with oil, to live without apology. Heaven spoke. What will you do now? The throne awaits your agreement. The angels await your next move. The realm of possibility is wide open, and destiny is calling. Not someday, not next season, not when you're ready. Now, type "I rise now" in the comments if this message has changed your posture. Blessing code 3003 is now sealing your next 30 days with divine clarity, victory, and peace.